Greetings and welcome to Connecting with Intent Show. I'm your host Muhammad Awais. On this episode, we have a very amazing personality. She is the connection strategist, keynote speaker, and the host of the Seeking the Overlap podcast, Baily Hancock. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Baily Hancock. Baily, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Well, this current iteration of my business came about 10 months ago when I was laid off from my last job. I was working as a community strategist, and the market is what the market is. And so I was laid off from my role, and it turned out to be an incredible gift because I had had a business a few years ago that I closed down after the pandemic. And I had been really dying to get back to doing teaching and speaking and writing. And so that's what I did. I returned to entrepreneurship happily. And it's been 10 months next week since I've been back with this particular business. And I'm so happy.
What is your higher purpose in life?
To help people learn how to connect with themselves so they can better connect with each other. And I think this is the most important thing I could ever do because I believe that disconnection is what leads to everything negative in this world. When people don't feel connected to others, it feels lonely, it's not good for your health, and it just leads to this separation of humanity. So I think if people could feel more connected with each other, which starts with connecting with yourself, that this world would be a much better place.
That's a powerful purpose. What have been top three greatest challenges that you have had to overcome?
Gosh, there's been so many things that have been challenging in life, as with everybody's life. But one of them, I was married when I was in my early 20s and realized that that was not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life with this person. So I actually got a divorce at 25. And that was a major challenge because all of our friends were the same people. Our lives were tied up together. So I made that very hard decision. And it led me to moving from Florida to California. And that got me to the life that I am today. So that was a big one. I've been laid off twice in my career, which those always feel really challenging. But as with the divorce, it ended up leading to something that was significantly more aligned for me and better fit for who I was as a person. And I had to close down my first business after the pandemic in 2021. I just couldn't keep things moving. My first business was collaboration consulting. I worked with a lot of entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs just got very scared, rightfully so, about the future of their business. So everybody stopped spending money. And it was really sad because I had that business for 5 years and I really loved it and believed in what I was doing. But I just needed to go back in house and have a steady income for a little while, which it's exactly what I did.
What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
I struggle to think of anything as a failure because I think every failure really does come with so much learning, so much growth if you let it. But one of the things that I do regret is when I moved to California from Florida, I immediately started dating this person. I had moved to LA, Los Angeles, to pursue TV show hosting. That's what I thought I was going to do. And I let this person kind of talk me out of doing that. He convinced me that it wasn't a good idea, and I listened, and it really threw me off track for a long time with my career. And then we inevitably broke up about a year and a half later. And I hadn't made any of my own friends during that time. I moved to LA knowing only two people. So I fell into his community, his circle of friends. And when we broke up, I didn't have any of my own people. So I really had to restart my own community and rebuild a life for myself in a town so far away from where I came from. But those lessons that I learned during that rebuilding phase are what ultimately led to what I'm doing now, which is teaching people how to build, nurture, and leverage relationships to feel less alone and achieve great things together. So that became the basis, that understanding of how to meet new people when you have nobody was hugely important for the work that I do today.
What is the most impactful book you have read and what did you learn from it?
Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. I read that. I've read it twice now. And the crux of it is that we all have these ideas, we all have these dreams and these desires that come to us. And we will often think that the dreams we have are the same dreams that everybody has, right? So whether that's writing a book or being a professional speaker, which are my dreams, everybody doesn't want the same thing as you. So, what her book really teaches you is that if a dream comes to you, it's yours. It's meant for you to pursue it. And a big lesson in her book is she talks about ideas coming to you from the muse. So, this, higher place, these ideas visit you. And if you don't see those ideas through, if you aren't the one to make that idea come to life, then it'll visit somebody else, which is often why you see somebody else doing something that you think you thought of. And you're like, oh no, that was my idea. And so her book teaches you ideas come and go. If you don't pursue them when they visit you, then they're probably going to go. And so if they visit you, take that as a sign and make them come to life.
What are your goals for the next 12 months?
I plan to write my first book called Seeking the Overlap, which is the same title as my podcast. And it's going to be a book about learning how to become more connected in a deeply disconnected world, which is a lot of what my podcast talks about too. It really is teaching people why connection is important, how to connect with yourself, and how to connect with others. And it really talks about a lot of the reasons why connection can feel really hard for so many of us. And it provides practical solutions for overcoming that and practical wisdom for learning how to curate a community, cultivate connection, and catalyze collaboration in your life. So that is my main goal for the next year. So hopefully, this time next year, I have a book to talk about.
What advice you will give to younger yourself?
Have more fun. I did not have enough fun when I was younger. I was very serious. I was very goal driven. I thought that my worth and my value as a person came from the things that I did and the goals that I achieved. And that was very much how I lived my life up until I was like 25 or 30 years old. And even after that, that idea of needing to prove my value and seek external validation from others, not understanding that I have inherent worthiness and value already, it really drove a lot of my decisions in my life. It helped me make a lot of the choices that I made. And I don't regret that because it got me to where I am today. But I realize now that's not how I want to continue to live my life from this point on. I want to trust that I don't have to constantly be seeking and striving and achieving to be loved and to be valued. Instead, I can do what I do in the best way possible on my time and know that that will be enough.
That's a great advice. So, how can we support you?
Listen to Seeking the Overlap. Go to seekingtheoverlap.com. That'll get you to my podcast. It just launched not even 2 weeks ago. So it's brand new. And I think the conversations that I'm having on there are really important and really valuable. And the guests that I'm having on season one are brilliant people who have done so much research. They have so much life experience teaching people exactly the skills that I think are most crucial for not only our happiness as individuals, but our survival as a species. So go check out the podcast. I also have a 3Cs digest. The 3Cs are community, connection, and collaboration that I send out on the 1st and the 15th of every month. And that's practical. It's a practical guide to teaching people how to curate community, cultivate collaboration, and catalyze connection.
What would you say about your guest appearance on the show?
Right now, this show, it's been
Yeah.
lovely. So thankful to have been a guest.
Thank you so much for your kind words. What closing thoughts would you like to share with our listeners?
Disconnection is easy, but it's also a bit lazy and it's extremely harmful to everybody, you and all of the people you come in contact with. Whereas connection does take a little bit of intention, it takes vulnerability, it takes empathy, but it's worth every second of time that you spend on it. the connections you make with other humans and yourself will pay off for the rest of your life. It will continue to ripple out and have positive effects on everybody around you. And I truly believe that if we were more connected as a culture, as a world, this place could be beautiful. We could solve so many problems. We could fix so many things. We could feel so much more supported and connected. And it all starts with you. It all starts with your individual connection to yourself, which then goes out from there. So don't let it pass you by. Connect with yourself, connect with others, and watch how the people and relationships around you change.
Thank you so much, Baily, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of connecting with the entire community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. This is Muhammad Wes. Until the next episode,